How's it going? We are back. We have made some small upgrades. Mainly, I realized last video as I moved away from the camera, and this logically makes sense, but I didn't consider this. My voice got considerably quieter. So, to help combat that quietness, I got a little clip on mic. It's gonna be great. Today, we're embarking on a really cool journey. I am going to be making pants, like denim pants. A couple of years ago, I picked up 2 yards of a black denim twill. Literally no reason. I cannot remember why I got this fabric, but I have it. And so it's sort of like a stash buster because this is really good fabric, and also I have a hard time buying pants. We're going to be making the Azuki work pants from Waffle Patterns on Etsy. I know that last week I kind of bitched and moaned a little bit about PDF patterns. I'm okay with this one because this is a small seller on Etsy. We love supporting small businesses here, and I will deal with a little bit of suffering just to make their lives better because they're worth it. I've previously used this pattern, well, parts of this pattern, for my Sky cosplay that I made for Riot back in was that 2020 or 2021? Regardless, it was one of those 2 years. This was my first PDF pattern, actually, that I ever had. And I wanted to say that I don't look back, but I do. I hate PDF patterns. Genuinely, I do. You get a lot of really cool options, though, so support small businesses. Get PDF patterns. I have already pre-washed my fabric. Like I mentioned before, I have this beautiful denim twill that I'm going to be using for the main parts of the pants, and I found this in my stash. It's like a black fabric with some traditional tattoo, like American traditional elements all over it, which I'm going to use for lining the pockets, just to get it out of here and get some more use of it. I used this actually to line my Magda corset, fun fact. So with this pattern, we're not using all of the options. There are so many options for it. Instead, we are just going to be doing the knee patch, and we're going to be doing flap pockets and the tool pockets. So that's going to be option D, E for the back pockets, because I want 2 back pockets, H for the hammer loop, and G for the tool pockets, and then I think it's option C for the flap pockets. I don't have a lot of fabric, so I'm going to prioritize the things that I really know that I want. Aside from my fabrics, I've also got green thread. I'm going through a little bit of a black and green phase, as you can see here, so I'm going to be utilizing the Scooterman thread for all of my top stitching. It's not top stitching thread, it's not denim thread. They did not have those threads in this color, so we are going to give it a go. I've never made pants before in this capacity, like with denim, so maybe I'm making a big mistake. We shall see. I also picked up some denim needles for my sewing machine because these seem pretty important. They're specifically labeled as denim, and when I click on the denim setting on my sewing machine, she asks for denim needles, so we give her what she wants because she's a beautiful, powerful, strong, gracious, gorgeous beast of a machine. I also have these jean buttons. These are what Joann's offered. They're no-sew, but it says they're sturdy and durable. We'll see. I've got my zipper of appropriate length and color, and last but not least, I've got a seam ripper. This is going to be the most important thing during this project. I can already feel it. We're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. My fabric is already pre-washed, as I mentioned earlier, and I already have my pattern pieces cut out of the paper and put together. One thing of note is that I'm a dumbass. When I printed this out, this pattern, I didn't realize that it wasn't at 100% scale. It was at 115. I should have gone into my printer settings and selected print to scale instead of fit to print or print to fit on the pages. So there's a possibility that this might end up a little bit too big. I, as mentioned before, would rather them be too big than too small. Yeah, let's go ahead, let's get rolling on this thing. I gotta iron this fabric first, and then we're gonna start cutting out some pattern pieces. So, we already have an issue. I thought that there were 2 yards. There are 1.5. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be getting the front panel and the 2 back panels, as well as the waistband, and maybe the pocket facing, all done out of this fabric. And I'm going to assess what I have left. If that is able to get me through it all, great. And if not, we're going to have to make some strategic decisions, which may include a Joann's trip tomorrow to get either the same fabric or a wildly different fabric. To be determined. If I get a wildly different fabric, we're going to pretend that it was a design choice the whole time, and that these contrasting pieces, which would be the knee pads, the tool belt, which would be all these contrasting pieces, which would be the knee pads, the tool pockets, the back pockets, and the hammer loop, were all very intentional. Yeah, let's see what we can do. this is where we're at. Most of these are only going to be getting one cutout, so the tool pocket is only going to get one. The other tool pocket will only get one cut. The hammer loop only needs one. Yep, I had to double check. The only things that are going to get two are the knee patch and the back pocket. I think I have enough to be able to get both of those down there. The only thing is that I will at this point be sacrificing the flap pockets. Honestly, I wasn't super sold on the flap pockets. I was more interested in the two tool pockets and the hammer loop. They're really convenient for my job, a place to put like pencils, pens, grease pens, Dura shears. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and move forward and try to get as much out of this as I possibly can. The other thing too, belt loops, I'm not gonna be able to cut those as like one continuous piece. I've got some scraps over here that I should be able to cut them out as I need, which is a little spooky. And then I'm gonna have some excess right here and there. We'll make it work. I think it'll all turn out well. Everything else is cut out and over there. These two pieces are for the pocket lining, and those are gonna get cut out of my American traditional fabric after I get this done. I'm gonna cut out what I can here and move on. All of my pieces are cut out, except for the belt loops, but like I said, I'm gonna cut those as I need them, and I have a bunch of big scraps kind of all pinned to that one patterned piece. So the way I've got everything sorted out right now, this might change. Actually, I know this is going to change. Pockets are all here. Accessory pieces are kind of all there, which is just like the hammer loop and the knee pads. These two pockets, the like tool pockets, I'm counting as actually part of the pockets and not the accessories. These all have to do with like the fly or the waistband. And that's the yoke, the front piece, and the two leg pieces. So right now, where I'm at mentally, I'm trying to form a game plan. I have a really cool new toy. I say new, I've had it for like a month and a half now, and I haven't really showed her off. She's there. Any guesses so far as to what she may be? I gave you 5 seconds, I think. I don't really know. But I'm considering if I want to use her or if I want to just continue on with construction. My thoughts are if I use her, I'm going to use her on the back pockets, the front tool pocket, and then the knee pads. You know what? I'm just going to tell you what it is. I got an embroidery machine. Just like virtually every other cosplayer and seamstress in the entire world, I've basically always wanted an embroidery machine. I've never in my life before been in a position where I felt like I could responsibly afford one. Last year, I had a lot of life changes happen, and I've been able to change a lot of the way that I live, and I've become a lot more frugal, and that has allowed me to actually buy a Husqvarna embroidery machine. I believe she's the Topaz. I'll double check tomorrow when I pull her out. It's very exciting. So what I think I'm going to do is I think with the black fabric and the green top stitching, I think it would be like super, super sick to do like spiderweb embroidery on the two back pockets, the top tool pocket, and the knee patches. I just think it'll look so cool. Maybe it'll be too much, I don't know. But yeah, I think this will be a fun little project for me to finally use the embroidery machine on. I've used it only once before. I embroidered some like little barbed wire hearts onto the back of some like Levi shorts. Took the pockets off, embroidered them, and then put them back on. Very simple, and it was easy enough. So I think this will be my first time actually doing an embroidery like on a thing that I'm making, and that'll be really cool. With it just being black and green and that design just being embroidered like thread, I think it'll still hold up pretty well at work. I don't have many concerns about that getting ruined or like destroyed, and it'll be like a nice little way to stand out and be cool, and that's what I like to do. Look at me, duh. But overall, we're going to give it a go. Tomorrow, I'll make it a priority to find some good spiderweb SVG files or already digitized files. I don't know how to digitize yet. We haven't gotten that far, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this project right now. So we're going to see what we can find, and hopefully, if I go ahead and segregate the pieces that I'm going to embroider and get them ready, tomorrow I can come home after work and set up the embroidery machine and give it a go. My only concern now is basically I have no extra fabric, which means I can't make any mistakes. It's gonna be so good. It's now Sunday of the same week that I started this, and this began on a Monday. we've gotten nothing done. I got kind of sick during the week, and so I didn't really want to work on a lot of stuff. I had kind of a rough week. Like I said, got sick. Nothing really happened at work, but it was just one of those weeks where you're just kind of exhausted from like literally everything. And it turns out all my neighbors were the same way. Chit-chatted with them some the other day, and they're all like, yeah, dude, this week's kind of kicked our ass. And the cherry on top was on Thursday, I stayed home from work because I wasn't feeling well. And I looked at my email, and every now and then I'll do this thing where I just go through my spam. And in my spam folder was an email for Twitch with an invitation to do a thing, and I fucking missed it because it got sent to my spam. So we're just having a little bit of a rough week here. I also went to go and do the embroidery stuff for the pants, and then I realized I don't have any stabilizer actually, much less the right kind. So I have to go to Joann's and I have to get stabilizer to do this. And to finish the pants, I have to be able to embroider them, and I have to have the stabilizer, and it's just, I'm just really frustrated. I'm gonna try to get a little bit done, just getting some of like the main things, like the yoke I can put on the back pants, and I can get the fronts for the most part put together, because like they're pockets, right? Like I can put pockets on later. Get the hammer loops, the belt loops maybe made, shit like that. So we're just gonna kind of get into it. I have a new little camera mount, and we are at my standing desk. I don't know why I'm showing it like you're gonna see it up here. It's the mount's attached to the desk. This is a bit of an older desk. I've had it for like 4 years, and I've used it a lot, and it's a little messy. So I'm really sorry if it's a little dirty. Please be patient with me. I'm gonna try to show off everything that I'm doing. Fingers crossed it all goes well. Yeah. Okay, so I apologize. Number one, this little bit of a shaky table, which means the camera's going to shake. I apologize if I touch the table too hard or something, or move something around, and we get a little bit of a shake here. But I have my back pieces for the main panels of these pants pinned together. So the way that this pattern works is there's like a bottom part that's like below the knee, there's the top part that's above the knee, and then there's the yoke. So I'm gonna go ahead, I got all these pinned together, I'm gonna take them over to my sewing machine, we're going to do a seam, and then I'm gonna overcast all of these and then do my top stitching. Then I'm gonna do the same for the pocket pieces and install the pockets onto the front panels of the pants. So this stitch, I actually don't know what it's called. It's basically a straight stretch stitch. I'm gonna come over here, let's show you how it is on my machine. So the second row, the second one in, what it does is it does like 2 stitches forward and then it goes back 1. And it allows you to keep a little bit of a straighter stitch versus like a zigzag and maintain some of that stretch. This denim does stretch a little bit, like not a whole lot, I'd say probably 5%. But I just figured just in case I wanted to go ahead and do a little bit of a more resilient stitch. So I kind of forgot about that on my first panel that I did, and I was like, you know what, it's fine, it's just the yoke. We'll adjust that setting and we'll go back and fix it. Or maybe we'll leave it. But let me show you the inside of this really quick. So I mentioned before that I was going to be overlocking this edge. If you're not sure what that is, it's basically doing, and I can show you on my machine again. Let's go over here. So for me, it's number 14 on the first row here. It's that little sort of like rectangular stitch that you'll see. Actually, I've got some jeans over here that I brought for reference because I've never made jeans before. That sort of like rectangular stitch you'll see sometimes on seams, kind of like this. So this one right here was likely done with an overlocking machine. I don't have that. What I do have is a basic sewing machine that has an overlock stitch selection and an overlocking foot. So what this overlocking foot is, it has this little wire right here. So the stitch will actually do its little rectangular thing, and you line the edge of the fabric up with this little wire, and the stitch will stitch over the edge of the fabric, and this wire helps make sure that when it goes back, the stitch doesn't get sucked into the bobbin area of the machine and jam it all up. This is so handy. I don't have the room for an overlock machine, and I don't really want a serger anyway right now, so having this is super handy.
Very convenient. Definitely 10 out of 10 recommend. You could also just utilize this too with a zigzag stitch. So it would be the same exact thing. You would just line the edge of your fabric up a little bit with this wire or a little bit past the wire, and you would zigzag and set your width so that way it's going over the edge of this wire. It'll help lock the fibers in on the edge of your fabric to help try to prevent fraying, and it'll look a little bit nicer. If that's something that you want to do, give it a shot. Definitely check it out. Also, my nails look very brown in this lighting. They're not. They're like a mauve color, but honestly, this brown isn't too bad either. I kind of like that. Wearing glamnetic nails because I want to look like a high-class bitch, but I don't want to spend lots of money on manicures. So I'm going to be doing these overlock edges on basically all of my seams, as well as top stitching in green. I think I mentioned that before because I like green. I'm in a green and black phase right now, and I think this is really cute. But I have both of these back panels done here. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside, and we're going to get the front panels situated. Okay, you know what? Let me put my phone down. Let's get this. I do actually kind of apologize. This isn't really a good tutorial on how to make pants. This is just kind of me making pants for the first time and seeing how shit works, because I've never done this. But these are my pocket facings, which I'm going to pair up with my pocket pieces. So bear with me. The way that this works, what this is for, is that when you know what, where's the fucking, let me get my pants really quick, the jeans that I'm using for reference. The facing is to help make sure that you're only seeing denim in this area. These pants are shitty and they don't have pockets, so I can't flip this to show you, but you can see this facing right here, same general shape. What's going to happen here is I'm going to pin these. Why are these so large? Did I fuck something up here? I might have to look at the instructions. I might have fucked something up. Something seems very wrong and I don't know what's happening. Let me just try something really quick. Let's just kind of pin this in. I mean, I know I made these a little bit shorter, but I don't think I did that much of a difference to them, did I? Something's wrong here. Nope. I'm gonna take a second. I'm gonna look at the instructions. I'm gonna figure this out. My little brain can't figure out if I'm like, right, this is edge pocket bag front. It's the wrong, I'm stupid. That's what it is. So here we go. This makes more sense to me. Edge pocket back. Yes, this is the pocket that goes like against me. Yep. I understand now. Yeah, no, I'm just dumb. All right, that makes sense. Okay, things are making sense now in my brain. This edge that I thought was supposed to line up with the facing, this is the line that goes with the front of the pants. I'll show you really quick what exactly I'm talking about. There you go. So, does that make sense? Did you see my mistake? Do you see what we're doing here? I'm just, I have confused myself and then I've fixed myself. Edge pocket back and the edge pocket facing. These go together. I'm very grateful. I already overlocked the seams on my edge pocket facing. I did that on the day when I stayed home sick from work. So all I'm going to do here is actually just top stitch this on. I'm gonna do that for both pieces, and then I'm gonna go ahead and come back here and we're going to work on the front pocket facings. I love this pocket fabric. I think it's so cute. Great choice, Haley. Look at this little American traditional tattoo motifs here. I don't know. I just think it's fun. It's good. Let's go on. I'm going to show you really quick the pocket fronts, how those go on, and then why I got like a little mixed up. So here's my front panel. This is the pocket front, and it's going to get attached right here along this curved diagonal line. Once it does, I'm actually going to be flipping it, ironing it, and doing some top stitching along this seam line. And what that's going to do is going to, let me grab the other one really quick. Once I iron it and put that stitching in there, it's going to put it on the inside like this. What then happens is I take my pocket back and I line these up and I sew them very carefully along their seam allowance, and we get that, right? So you'll get this pocket facing that's visible right there. And then my pocket liner pieces, the insides here will be together too. Does that make any sense? Those words make sense to you? It's hard to kind of put into words, but it does make sense to me. If you want a really good detailed video on how to make jeans, and the one that I actually referenced before I began this whole process myself, Talk Customs on YouTube has an incredible video. I think it's about 40 minutes long, but it's really in-depth, and he does a great job of explaining how to put pants together. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead. Got one pocket already pinned. Let's get the other one pinned on here, and then I'll take it over to my machine. I'm gonna do up my seam, iron this flat, and then do my top stitching to get these pockets on here. Got my two little running stitches right here to help hold everything in place. So what's gonna happen now is I'm going to be taking my back pocket. Where the heck did they go? Okay, sorry. Jeez, good lord. So I'm gonna flip this over so my pocket is up. And I'm gonna take my back pocket facing, the one that's like, that correlates to this side. And I'm gonna line them up. I'm gonna pin them together. And all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be stitching down this side and the bottom. This part of the pocket right here is going to be held in place by the side seam. So I don't need to stitch the top because it's going to be held in by the waistband. So I'm going to go ahead, let's pin this edge and this edge, take them over, sew them up, and then I'll bring this back and I'll show you my pocket. I know this feels really strange. This is how jeans be. We're making jeans. This is how they be. So it's how we do. So the pockets are sewn in, and I hope this now kind of shows you like what I was talking about. So that front piece is in here. Ooh, a little string. Trim that really quick. We're getting a little unruly with all the amounts of like loose threads here. And then I went and I put my back pocket flap in with that facing. So the front looks very nice. We just see denim here, and the back and the inside has my really cool pocket fabric. Super freaking cool. Love it. And this is a pretty good sized pocket. These are sizable. Like for a woman's pants, that's really good. My next step now is actually going to be going ahead and working on a part that's been stressing me out the most, which is installing the fly. I don't really know how to do that. I have my zipper, which is a little bit longer than it needs to be, which is totally fine. I've got my fly facing. And what is this? Fly shield? I don't really know what any of this is. I've watched Talk's video like 2 or 3 times now on how to install, and like in theory when I watch it I go, okay, great, yes, this makes sense. And then I think about how to actually employ this newfound knowledge, and it's not there. It just doesn't exist in my little brain. I also think that my pants might be facing the wrong way. I think when I cut all my fabric out that I cut those pieces out on the wrong side of the fabric, and so like my fly just might be on the wrong side of my pants. We'll see. I don't know. I don't think it'll be too big of a problem because these are all inside pieces. So as long as I like do this correctly, they'll all be on the inside. Nobody will really know. I'm gonna take a break for now. I'm gonna consider this newfound knowledge, probably rewatch the video again, and then go check out my friend's dogs, go to Joann's, get some stabilizer so we can embroider some pockets today. And we're gonna come back to this in like a couple of hours. I know that I said that I would be back in a couple of hours. A couple of hours turned into over 24 hours. It's now like 6:30 p.m. of the next day. Got a little distracted. Sometimes life happens, and Sundays are my meal prep days and my cleaning days, so it's just kind of whatever. We are going to be doing a little bit of a different technique than what Talk shows in his video for making pants that I referenced earlier. And instead, I'm gonna link another video in the description showing a different method for installing zippers that I think will be a little bit or a lot of it easier for me. Kind of stupid. So I like to do things in ways that my little tiny gorilla brain can understand, and I think this will work out a little bit better for me. So what we're going to be doing instead is I'm going to be taking my left panel, which is this side, obviously, because that's the left, and I'm going to be attaching my fly facing, which wasn't really what I was expecting to be doing at this step. So I'm going to attach the fly facing, and then you attach the zipper to the fly facing, then you top stitch your facing down on that panel. And once you have that done, you take the other side of the zipper that's going to be on the right side, and you carefully stitch that to your fly shield, which then gets stitched to the right side of the pants. I don't know why, that just makes so much more sense to my brain. There's nothing wrong with how Talk showed it. It just, there were a lot of steps and you were working with both sides, kind of like one side and then the other. And I think just getting one side done and then attaching it to the other will be better for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, starting with the left side. And once I am done with that, I'm gonna come back over and we're going to see how everything else is looking. I just wanted to show you guys what exactly I was talking about. So my fly facing is installed, and then as you can see, my zipper is top stitched down. And it's top stitched down in the way so that way when you're flipping it, you're seeing the right side of the zipper here. So what I'm doing now is I took this little bottom corner and I've pinned it out of the way as much as I can. I'm going to be taking the stitch template and I'm going to lay it over top. Will you lay flat, please? Thank you. Line it up with my edge, and I'm going to take my chalk marker and I'm going to draw around where I need to stitch. I actually think I'm going to have to take it a little bit lower. We'll see. And then once the fly facing is stitched down, I'm going to take this piece, which is the fly shield, and I'm going to stitch it to the edge of this zipper, like so. So that way the zipper won't catch any of my bits and pieces. And then I can stitch the zipper and the fly shield to the other side. Does that make sense? I'm going to come back after I do my top stitching while I pin in this fly shield to the zipper and report. But here is the top stitching on my fly facing. Here is my zipper that is sewn to the fly facing. And the way that I did that, I don't think I really talked about this or explained it very well. I just kind of unfolded the fly facing and stitched it to where it was only through the facing, not all the way through both pieces. So my next step is going to be to take this little piece right here, this side of the fly, and I'm going to line it up with the fly guard right there, pin it all down, and I'm going to be stitching just along this line right here. And then once this is done, we're going to start messing with the other side of the jeans. Okay, so I think this is where you're really going to see some of the magic kind of come together. I took my right side and I made a notch as indicated on the pattern. I ironed my seam allowance in, and now I'm going to very carefully, let me pin this over just to get this flap out of the way here. Sorry. I'm going to line up this creased edge with the zipper teeth, giving like a couple of millimeters of clearance. I'm gonna pin this down. We're gonna take it over to the sewing machine to stitch this bitch. Top stitch all the way down to the end of these teeth. This is coming together. This is, oh, I'm so happy. I've never made jeans before, and this is making me feel really accomplished. Oh my goodness. So these look like pants. Like, we're not done, obviously, but I've got a fly. I've got a zipper that functions. This is awesome. I'm a little nervous about this one seam right here being what holds the fly together on the right side. So I might do another line of stitching just right next to it. It'll be covered by flap here. So now I need to iron this side, this seam allowance, under, and then I pin this here to the right side, and then I top stitch, and then we're done with the fronts. We're done with the fronts. I don't know if what I just said makes any sense at all, but yeah, basically ironing, once again, this seam allowance flat, and then I will line up my seam allowance on this side with the right side, and we're going to do some top stitching. So 2 lines, one will be lined parallel with this top stitching that I did along the fly facing, and then another one like 6 millimeters in, I don't know, however I feel, we'll see. A lot of my top stitching has been pretty close together, not really on purpose. I just kind of didn't really know how far to make my first set of top stitching. And then I was like, well, I gotta be consistent. So therefore, it's all very close together. I am gonna go do that now. I have the front of some pairs of pants. This is sick. This is actually super cool. I honestly was not sure if I could pull this off. I have a zipper installed. I've got a little fly, I've got my facing, I've got the front of a pair of pants. So I think I'm actually gonna call it quits for tonight. This is really the big thing that I wanted to get done. This is the thing that I was the most nervous about and honestly was procrastinating on. Tomorrow we're going to get the pockets all put together. And by that I mean we're going to get them ironed. Well, first we're going to embroider them. See how that goes, because if it goes horribly wrong, I don't know, I might not have pants. We'll see. Once those are embroidered, we'll get them sewn up and ready to be applied to the back of the jeans. And I'll try to see if we can put the fronts and the backs together and maybe get a waistband on. I don't think this will be done tomorrow. There's a lot of like fiddly little things at the very end that I just don't really want to deal with right now. And I might procrastinate on until the weekend, but this is pretty good progress for like effectively, what, 3 days of work? And that's just kind of coming in and working for a couple of hours here or there. So far, my only complaint is there's a lot of bulk here. I almost wish that this fly, like zipper shield, was just one layer of fabric. God, this is so freaking exciting. And this looks really nice so far, if I do say so myself. I mean, there are obviously things that could be better. I'm sure if I made like 12 more pairs of pants, I'd have this shit down to a science. But for my first pair, so far, we're doing pretty good, I'd say. Here's kind of the game plan. As you can see, I've got my pocket pieces laid out and my knee pieces. I don't think I'm going to do the tulle pocket embroidery, I should say. That's kind of what we're setting up for. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of just jumping into it. I think if I do the tulle pocket, it'll just be kind of like a little bit much. So I think the knee pieces having spider webs and then those having spider webs will be pretty sick on their own. I have these lined up. They fit pretty much perfectly in my 4x4 square. There's a little bit of like overhang, or not overhang, but a little bit of like fabric that kind of doesn't get embroidered with this, but like I'll just kind of turn that in, you know, just fold the edges, move on with my life. It's fine. We make it work. We roll with everything that we can here. Try not to freak out too much. Sometimes I can, because some stuff you can't really help but freak out over. But the knee pieces, we're also going to get spider webs. I got a design on Etsy, and we're going to go ahead and upload it to the embroidery machine, set the embroidery machine up, and let it do its thing. I'm pretty nervous about this. It's either going to go really well or really bad. Kind of really hoping that it goes really well, but I don't really have much control over that aside from doing my best to make sure that everything is prepped accordingly. So fingers crossed that it is. Okay, so first off, if you've never seen how embroidery machines work, here you go. So basically all that it is you have this arm that attaches. There is a motor that pulls it back and forth down here, and then a motor that pulls it up and down from here. Just like you would on a grid, you know, if you need to move down, the arm will move this part down or up. The needle stays stationary, and the frame itself kind of moves around. Something of note, I think I fucked up. And the reason that I think I fucked up, I didn't double check the hoop size that's actually on here. I think that it thinks I'm using a 340 maybe by 200, because this is how full my embroidery should be, and this is how full it is. There's a lot of space up at the top here, and that would make sense to me. From what I can tell, that really should be all the way at the top. So I think what we're going to be doing is once I get these off the embroidery machine, I'm going to go ahead, take these over to my actual sewing machine with the same thread, and we'll just kind of pull this design up some more and add some extra little cobwebby things at the top. I don't want these designs just really bottom heavy. I don't know if that makes any sense. We'll figure it out. Also, God, I really hope the sound quality isn't absolutely fucked from this thing in the background. If it is, I'm so incredibly sorry. But that aside, I mean, these look pretty cool. I like the green. I like the black. The reason that you see this fabric right here, by the way, too. So I bought this embroidery file, and for reasons that are unknown to me, because I don't know how to make embroidery files yet, it wouldn't let me size it down to fit into this hoop, which is the 120 by 120. The pieces fit perfectly into this hoop with that stabilizer that I had already cut out. And I did all of that before I found out that it wouldn't go any smaller. So what I did instead, because the pieces were too small to fit comfortably in that hoop, this is so, what a workaround. God, people are going to be so mad that know more about embroidery than I do. I stitched them onto this quilting cotton that I have to help secure them, and then I figured, well, this is basically stabilizer, so I don't need any more stabilizer. And besides, it's denim. It's not like it's a knit fabric that's really going to buckle or bunch up as it gets heavily stitched like this. It's going to pretty much hold its shape. So that's kind of what's happened. I'm actually really disappointed about the fact that, like, either the hoop is off or my, like, I don't know, man, something was off here, you know? Wait, is this one higher up than the other one was? No, that feels about the same. What has happened here? Oh, buddy. Yeah, no, these are definitely different. I hope it doesn't try to, like, stitch off the edge. I'm a little worried about that now, because I feel like there's so much more room right here versus right here. Well, we'll kind of cross that bridge if and when we get there, I guess. Okay, little update. This is the top. That's where it stopped. So we are good. I definitely selected the wrong size hoop. I definitely think that I'm off by about 2 centimeters. That sucks. Man, I was really hoping these would be symmetrical. It's not the end of the world that they're not. I'll pretty much do like I said with the other one and kind of just fudge it a little bit and hope for the best. This pocket is turning out exactly how I wanted it to. Like, that center is a lot more centered with the pocket, and I think that's gonna look nicer. I wish that I had enough fabric to redo the other one. This is the issue with trying out new techniques when you only have a limited amount of fabric. Sometimes you fuck up and you just kind of gotta roll with it, but we are going to just roll with it, and hopefully the end product, this little boo-boo won't be noticeable. We get these two pieces done, I'm gonna sit down and do the same thing, same sort of preparations with my knee pieces. I'm gonna make sure that I select the right hoop size this time. As you can see, I went ahead and I continued the design from the embroidery onto the pockets. Looks pretty good. You could, if you looked close enough, see what I added, but I think generally they look pretty symmetrical and they look pretty good. I lined them up to make the patterns like even to see how off they were. It was only about a ½ inch. So I took a ½ inch off of both pockets, and to account for that, instead of folding this down and having an inch seam allowance for the top, I just did one fold and a ½ inch. It's such a small difference, and it's not going to be noticeable while wearing it, and I think having these be symmetrical will look better than if they weren't and the pockets were the right size. So there's that. There's my tool pockets for the side. My knee patches, I actually went ahead and already pinned onto the front. I'm going to pin my back pockets into place. I'm not going to worry about the tool pockets just yet. We're going to set these back over here because I'm not sure, first of all, what side it's going to go on, and second of all, what placement is going to look like exactly. So I would rather get the things that I know for sure on first, and then we can kind of pull back and assess the situation. I had to continue the design on these as well. Sorry, back to the embroidery thing. And when I did that, all I really did was I took the same thread and I just went back and forth 3 times for each line. Nothing crazy. This actually took a lot longer than I expected it to. In my brain, it was going to be very much a set it and forget it thing. I haven't learned yet, although this is, I think, my 2nd or 3rd time using the embroidery machine, that it's not like that. It actually requires effort, which is crazy. Can you believe that? Wow, a new skill requires effort. Mind-blowing. But hopefully, we can get these done. We're really, really close. Once the pockets are all on and I have my hammer loop on too, I can go ahead and stitch the side seams up, and then we get to start on the waistband and my belt loops. So these are looking pretty dang good, dude. I am super excited. So I need to figure out my next steps. I believe the next step is to attach these back pieces to the front at the side seams, do up the center back seam, then do the inside seam. No, that's wrong. Okay, so we do the side seams, and then we do the inside seams, and then we do the like crotch seam. And then once that's on, I can like actually try these on and see if these fit or not, because I'm actually a little nervous that they're not going to fit. We shall see. As does happen sometimes as you're sewing, you realize that your order of operations isn't correct. I'll be so frank with you, at this point I'm going solely off of memory and what makes sense to me in terms of putting these pieces together. I haven't looked at the instructions. So my thought initially, like I said, was to do this inside seam, and then the outside seam, and then the crotch seam, something along those lines. I realized after I sat down and pinned stuff together, this crotch seam needed to happen first. And the reason this one needs to happen first is because we already got a crotch seam on the front piece. So if I try to line anything up without having this back seamed, it just wouldn't work. So I got that done. My next step is now going to be lining up my crotch seams and hitting the inside seam of these pants. With the inside seam, I'm gonna go through, top stitch that seam flat, and then hit the outside seams. So I had this whole thing backwards. Whoopsie-doo on my part. But that's just how this shit goes sometimes. So I went and I got everything pinned up for my inseam, and that's stitched down. I'll be really honest, I kind of forgot to overlock, or overcast, I guess I should say, the edges of my back pieces. I'm running really, really, really low on thread right now, as you can see. We're gonna be cutting it very close to this project. So instead of overlocking the edges together and then top stitching it down, I'm gonna just trim this back panel about like half the width, and then I'll fold the actual overcast edge over top, kind of like felling, and then I'll top stitch that down. Actually, that's pretty much just like felling a seam. So we're gonna fell this seam. I should have just said that from the beginning. And once that seam is felled, I will do my outer seams along the outside of the legs, and then I'm gonna try them on, because I'm really afraid that I've spent all this time and effort and these pants just aren't going to fit. That's kind of my luck. Even though I measured myself and followed everything, I could just see this project being a waste of time. Also, like I mentioned, I've been running out of thread, and I had a bunch of random bobbins with just different colors in, so I've just been using whatever I kind of grab out of my little bobbin stash. So we've got like some red, some pink, some other green, and black. So yeah. And look at these bad boys. Are you kidding? Doing pretty good. We're at a point now where I can actually kind of try these on. The fit's not going to be quite right because like there's no waistband on here, but let me step over here. Let's put these on. Let's see how they fit. Okay, let's see. It's one leg, the other. Oh no, we feel a little snug. All right, let's come over here. Let's get these pockets corrected. Them in, and yeah, no, this is the issue that I run into with virtually all pants. They're tight in the butt, and they are incredibly loose. So fortunately, I can take it in right at the sides. I don't think that'll cause too many problems. That's frustrating. What a disappointment. Let's keep going. See if it gets better. Guess who made a fucky wucky? It's me. It's always me. It's my channel, so I'm the one making it. I should have left that extra fabric in because now these are just too tight in the waist. They fit a lot better now, and things feel a lot more like they should have at the very beginning, but they're tight. They're tight. It's right through here. Yeah, but I think generally these fit pretty well. They curve pretty low in the back, which is like a little frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna finish them up. I like them better than I thought that I would a few minutes ago, but I am disappointed that now I've made them too small. Hello, guy. Hey, what do you got in your mouth? Drop it. No, you can't have that. That's not for you. No, sir. And this, again, This is why you're not allowed in here. Go on. Get out. You fiend. Now that we've saved a cat from certain doom, let's go over here and pick this back up. I didn't record this because, I don't know, I just felt like it was kind of boring, but I got my loops on, my belt loops. These are literally just the belt loop pattern, and then I just sewed some extra stitches on because we want to add more stuff. Then I was like, all right, let's do the buttonhole. I don't know what happened here. I don't know why it looks like this. I used the right setting on my machine with the right foot. I'm assuming it's because this fabric is thick and it just had a really hard time scooching over the fabric to make this not look like that. But there it is. That's what it looks like. And that's kind of what we're stuck with. I'm going to take a seam ripper and I'm going to rip this open. And then we're going to apply these no-sew denim buttons to the other side. Then I'll have pants that need to be hemmed. And then I'll have pants that I made 100% from scratch that I'll probably never wear because they don't fit me. But I made something, and that's great. Bam. 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 Got a button, got some little belt loops, got front pockets that kind of get bunched up. There we go. Front pockets with some sick-ass tattoo fabric. Got some back pockets with some spider webs. Got a little hammer loop that I'll never use because I don't use hammers at work. Got some tool pockets that I'll put survey material in. Got some knee pads with some spider webs. I'm feeling pretty good. Oh, I broke a nail.